Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabhalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janabhalabha Gopi Janabhalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janabhalabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Brajajanandana Yasodhanandana Yamuna Tira Bhalachadi Yamuna Tira Bhalachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Janabhalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janabhalabha Gopi Janabhalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janabhalabha Yasodhanandana Brajajanandana Yasodhanandana Brajajanandana Yamuna Tira Bhalachadi Yamuna Tira Bhalachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Ho Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Astatarasata Srimad His Divine Grace is the Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki for Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Adhirayet. Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 31. Vishuddhaya Dharanaya Hatashubhas Tad ikshaya vasu gata yuta samshramaha. Nivritta sarvendriya vritti vibhramas. Tushtava janyam vishajan janardanam. Vishuddhaya dharanaya hatashubhas. Tad ikshayaiva shukatas yudhashrama. Nivritta sarvendriya vritti vibhramas. Tushtava janyam vrishajan janardanam. Translation: by pure meditation, Vishuddha Dharayan, looking at Lord Sri Krishna, Eva Ikshaya, he at once, Ashu, was freed from all material inauspiciousness, Hata Ashubha, and was relieved of all bodily pains caused by the arrow wounds. Thus, all the external activities of his senses at once stopped, and he prayed transcendentally to the controller of all living beings while quitting his material body. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The material body is a gift of the material energy, technically called illusion. Identification with the material body is due to forgetfulness of our eternal relationship with the Lord. For a pure devotee of the Lord like Bhishma Dev, this illusion was at once removed as soon as the Lord arrived. Lord Krishna is like the sun and the illusory energy. The external material energy is like darkness. In the presence of the sun, there is no possibility that darkness can stand. Therefore, just on the arrival of Lord Krishna, all material contamination was completely removed. And Bhishma Dev was thus able to be transcendentally situated by stopping the activities of the impure senses in collaboration with matter. The soul is originally pure, and so also the senses. By material contamination, the senses assume the role of imperfection and impurity. By revival of contact with the Supreme Pure, Lord Krishna, the senses again become freed from material contaminations. Bhishma Dev attained all these transcendental conditions prior to his leaving the material body because of the Lord's presence. The Lord is the controller and benefactor of all living beings. That is the verdict of all Vedas. He is the supreme eternity and living entity amongst all the eternal living beings, with an asterisk from the bottom, Nityo Nityanam, etc. And he alone provides all the necessities for all kinds of living beings. It's Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. Thus, he provided all facilities to fulfill the transcendental desires of his great devotee Bhishma Dev. He prayed as follows. In such circumstance, one has to be very capable to be prepared to do all of what he's doing and offer prayers. But he's very capable. I did some research and came up with nothing. Is there significance to why Krishna shows a four-arm form? And there's nothing that I struck out. There's nothing in the commentary that says intuition says something, but the commentary isn't there to confirm the intuition. It has something to do with his destination, and his destination has something to do with his origin or his relationship. I was thinking, similarly to the form that Krishna showed to Bhishma with the Pandavas. I mean, the Pandavas, are they used to seeing Krishna with four arms? But he's showing four arms. At least to Bhishma Devi, he's showing four arms. When Krishna was getting ready to depart at Prabhas, he was manifesting a four-arm form. And that four-arm form is the form that Uddhava saw and offered some prayers and etc. Now, Uddhava wasn't about to leave at that particular time, but Krishna was. And the commentary says, when Krishna returned, two things, because it's stated in the scripture that the Lord eternally resides in Vrindavan and never leaves Vrindavan. So a feature of Krishna entered Vrindavan. And the place from which the personality of Godhead appeared was Svetadvip, which is where a place where the Lord has four-arm form. It doesn't say specifically he manifested a four-arm form because he was going to a place where there's a four-arm form of his, but it's the intuitive connection is there. And similarly, so that Bhishma Dev can have a form of the Lord where his destination is going to be. That's what he's asking and praying for, so he can leave the world with his eyes and his mind absorbed the personality of Godhead. And one could say in a mood that suits Bhishma Dev. And though Krishna may show two-arm form, the feature that was the feature of the greatest absorption for Bhishma Dev was the same position, Bhishma Dev, Vaikunthavasi. And Mahajans can be Vaikuntavasis. We have several of them that are Vaikuntavasis. Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, etc. We heard several things in the purport. One of them was not just when he entered into this deep state of meditation upon Krishna, but when Krishna first appeared. By Krishna's presence, all auspiciousness was created. And furthermore, by his fixing his mind in meditation, the pain, so it means, the implication is, before that stage of absorbed meditation, Bhishma Dev was rising above the pain, but there was pain, naturally. And then tolerating the pain or rising above the pain, and when there's no pain, pretty amazing. And that, given the circumstance, no pain. That means that consciousness was withdrawn from the body. The presence of the soul within the body is such that the soul is conscious and consciousness spreads through the body. So if there's some sensation over here or another sensation over there, there's something cold or something hot or something this or something soft, something hard. The sensation goes onto the bodily platform, but because consciousness expanding from the soul reaches the body, and the body can perceive what the body perceives. The senses can perceive what the senses perceive, animated by consciousness. That's just a simple Sankhya teaching. Sankhya teaching is important to have a clear understanding of, because the relationship of all things with the source of emanation is important in order to clearly act and consistently act in relation to the source of everything, in relation to Krishna. It's not a prerequisite. It's not that you have to have knowledge of Sankhya philosophy or you can't be absorbed in Krishna. But alignment of spiritual reality when we're approaching Krishna is important. And especially we're heavily reliant upon our senses and our reasoning power to interpret the message of the senses. It's sending to the mind, and the intelligence reads it and assesses what it is. Scriptural knowledge is important. However, it's not the make it or break it criteria. Bhakti is not knowledge. So it's just more, he is detaching. He's Bhishma Dev, we're going to hear further coming up. He's a yogi. He knows how to withdraw his senses, and which means withdraw consciousness from the external. And it's not like this, the arms go within his torso. The senses are still, the sense organs are still there, but consciousness is withdrawn. It's one of the stages, the fifth stage in the yoga system, the Ashtanga yoga system, where pratyahara, one withdraws consciousness from the normal position of extending consciousness into the field of the material energy, prakriti. It says consolidating. So that such a yogi as Bhishma Deva is, he has the capacity. So it's interesting. His mind is, and his eyes are fixed upon the form of Krishna, but he's still able to offer prayers. So who knows what that felt like? His extraordinary personality. And where does such an ability come from? I mean, ordinary people can't do that. Ordinary people can't do lots of things that yogis can do. The ability comes from Krishna, and it's following practices or procedures or purification or consciousness elevation that's provided in Scripture, so one can do unusual things that ordinary people can't do because they don't have that discipline and the training. Bhishma Dev has all of that, but still promotes his devotion, which is going to come out in his prayers. What I mean, the pause is he's summoning the resource of his years and years and years and years and years of service to Krishna, and the strength, the power, the focus, everything is that the time has come, and he's choosing the time, and he's very focused on Krishna. And by Krishna's kindness, he's before him. So the word, his prayers, bearing that in mind, really special. But I think this is the last class from the Bhagavatam till we come back again, because tomorrow is something else, and Sunday is something else, and Monday is something else. So let me just read the first prayer, the first line. Bhishma Dev said, "Let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord Sri Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending on the material world, although from him only the material world is created." It's really easy to get bewildered by material energy. There's a potency within the material energy to make one bewildered, the illusory potency. And although Bhishma Dev is in the same place where we are, he's not bewildered by it. He's not bewildered by it because his consciousness is fixed. It's not sadhana, it's perfection. And he's understanding Krishna's greatness, or he who's the source of the material world enters into the material world, and for the pleasure of his devotees performs loving pastimes with his devotees. Pleasure pastimes. His pleasure, the devotee's pleasure. Exchanges of loving activities, including this one, including the misfortune of Bhishma Dev lying on the bed of arrows and so forth, and yet at the same time showing his unparalleled, unequaled capacity. And Krishna is very kind. Krishna is reciprocating. Okay, I'm going to stop and let's see if there's some discussion.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, if I heard it correctly, you mentioned that Krishna, who came from the outside Vrindavan, is a Vasudev Krishna, and he came from Shwetadeep. Did I hear it correctly?
The demigods prayed to Lord Vishnu to come and help take care of the Kamsa and the demoniac kings on the surface of the earth, because they were disturbing even the demigods, what to speak of on earth. So the place where they went was Shwetadweep, the shore of the Milk Ocean. From there he descended.
So is it the correct understanding to say that Vishnu in the Shwetadweep is a Vasudev form?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Karadakshay Vishnu.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Shiradakshay Vishnu.
Shiradakshay Vishnu. So another thing, during our Dhruva's pastime, we hear that Prishni Garbha Vishnu appeared before him.
Yeah.
That is also from Shwetadweep, or we?
Prishni Garbha. Sutapa Prishni. Prishni Garbha. Vishnu form, but exactly Shiradakshay Vishnu form.
Okay.
It gets a little dicey. It gets a little from where, from where do the avatars appear? And there are references that say Mahavishnu. There are references that say Garbhodakshay Vishnu. There are references that say Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So, how do you sort that one out? The answer is they're one Vishnu. There's different features of one Vishnu. So they descend from Vishnu. And you're asking which Vishnu? So I'm responding. There are different references. Prishni Garbha specific, but I don't know of a reference that says from which Vishnu, but it's from Vishnu.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have a question about the Mahajans.
About the Mahajans.
Yes.
Oh.
Are all of them eternally from Vaikuntha?
Do they what?
Are all the Mahajans eternally from Vaikuntha?
Well, they're connected to Vaikuntha, from whence they have come. I mean, like Prahlad, Bali. They're. It's not a rule that all of them have come from the same place. The origin of all living entities is one place, the source of everything. And then you can trace that source of everything to Ishvara Parama Krishna. But then to say Ishvara Parama Krishna, then Krishna expands and someone may descend from one of those forms of the Lord. But those forms of the Lord are originally with Krishna. He's the Karana. It's important to be specific, and it's important to know what the cause of all causes is. So they're avatars of Vishnu, yes. And of all the avatars of Vishnu, what is the source of the avatars of Vishnu? That's the Bhagavatam. So both statements are correct. Krishna is their source. Vishnu is their source. Both statements are correct. Okay. Okay.
How to keep our focus on Lord as Bhishma Dev had?
How to? Sadhu Sangha. Follow the process under the guidance of sadhus. And then gradually, it's just, the question is, how do you attain this stage of absolute focus? So we say, how do we attain the stage of nishtha? Or ruchi or sakti and so forth. To follow the process. The seed of bhakti is received from the sadhus. The sadhus give that seed to someone who has faith, and then they engage with the person who received the seed of bhakti in such a way that gradually they can come to the answer that the person has asked. So, sadhu sangha. Devotional service in the association of sadhus. Something else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. But what can we understand from Bhishma Dev's pastimes? Being a Mahajan, but he sided with the Kauravas and went against the Pandavas.
There's multiple. And, you and I might not do what he did. Because you and I live by, or at least we're supposed to live by, what's right and wrong. And the Kauravas are wrong. So, externally, there's external and internal. Externally, Dharma, there's Dharma that trumps the following. But the Dharma was, he was maintained. He accepted maintenance from the Kauravas. So he's obliged to assist those who are his master or maintainer. He's not, anyway. It's Dharma. He was a follower of Dharma. So that's an external reason. And then there's multiple internal reasons. Down to the pastime that's happening right now happened because he took the side of the Kauravas. He was defeated. Now anyway, Bhishma Dev couldn't be defeated even by Parshuram. Right? They had a big 30-day battle. Parshuram couldn't defeat him. So how's Bhishma Dev being defeated? If even personality Godhead with his chopper can't defeat him. It's an arrangement of the Supreme Lord. So the part of the arrangement of the Supreme Lord is so that Bhishma Dev, while fighting to get Arjuna, Krishna's in the chariot in front of Arjuna. So it wouldn't happen if he was on the other side. On the Pandava's side. He has his attention absorbed in Krishna, the chariot driver of Arjuna. It's a rasa answer, but to fulfill his relationship and Krishna's reciprocation with his relationship, arrangement was made that he took the side. So there's superficial and there's more profound or rasa-related explanations. And Bhishma Dev, is the follower of Krishna's indication. So by some standards, he did the wrong thing. By some standards, he did the right thing. And ultimately, it's the relationship with Krishna thing. Sometimes devotees of the Lord will do out of character things because they're submissive to the personality Godhead who has a plan for this devotee or that devotee, or this circumstance, that circumstance. You follow? Okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Speak slowly.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. My question is similar to what Prabhu has asked.
Slow down.
Yeah. My question is.
You don't have to say it again. Just slow down.
My question is similar to what Prabhu has asked. The relation between the divine will of Krishna and the choices made by Bhishma Dev. And the choices made by Bhishma are as per the Dharma.
The choice made by Bhishma was?
As per the Dharma.
Well, that's one. Yeah.
And the relation between the will of Krishna and like, the choices made by Bhishma, like what is the relationship?
He is submissive. Will of Krishna prevails. So intelligence comes from Krishna. And the choices are on a person that's Bhishma. It's not mind. It's or ruled by Dharma. He's ruled by Dharma, but ultimately he's ruled by Krishna's indication. So he followed Dharma because it was Krishna's indication. Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. So aham tvam sarva papebhyo. So the Dharma is subordinate to Paradharma. He's a surrendered, he's a Mahajan. So he knows the difference between Paradharma and Dharma. And Sarvadharmam parityaja. That Dharma is to be abandoned in favor of mamekam sharanam. That's what he did. So the external is he was a follower of Dharma. But the internal is he's a follower of Krishna's instruction. So the choices made by Bhishma are, one can say this, but one can also say that. Krishna had a plan. And and Krishna gives intelligence, and Bhishma says yes. And it's not like, he's got his big computer on and he sees a signal coming from Krishna saying, Bhishma Dev, turn left, not right. So he turns left because he gets a little signal on his computer screen. It's not quite like that. Bhishma knows Krishna wants me to be opposed to the Pandavas so that I can see Krishna face to face, even while fighting. It's not necessarily like that kind of detail. But his decisions are inspired by Krishna from within. Intelligence is given by Krishna from within. Here's a nice example. It's different, but it's very closely related. Canto 11, Chapter 1. Krishna's in Dwarka. And there's a big festival going on at the house of Vasudeva. And Krishna's not in the house of Vasudeva, but he has his own palaces. But there's a big festival going on. And it's a festival that Vasudeva invited brahmanas and sages to come to perform rituals that would give benefit to the citizens of Dwarka. So there they are doing all of that. And Krishna is by himself contemplating. I came into this world at the request of the demigods. Lord Brahma came when Krishna was in this secluded place and said, thank you very much. You fulfilled our request. Now, if you like, you can return to your abode. So then Lord Brahma departed, and Krishna was contemplating, confirmed, my mission is completed. Like he didn't need confirmation, but confirmed. The demigods are releasing me from that request they made of me. Now, is there some service remaining? Yes. That some service remaining is that he's contemplating. The verses are describing Krishna's inner thoughts. Compliments of Shukadeva Goswami. He knows Krishna's inner thoughts. He didn't just have a conversation. The Yadu dynasty members also have to be removed. And there are two main reasons. His contemplations. One is, they appear to assist me, let them go back to where they came from. Second, they're invincible. They're invincible by my power. And after I depart, Kali Yuga is going to begin, and they're so powerful, who can defeat them? And if they start to become infected or affected by the influence of Kali, no one can stop them. So I have to remove them. Then he made a plan that this one did this and that one did that, the other one did the next thing, so by indication of Krishna, because they're completely devoted to Krishna. So Krishna gives intelligence from within, as Krishna gave intelligence to Bhishma to make choices that were, in one sense, out of character. He's partial to the Pandavas because they're so dear to Krishna, not just buddy. Krishna is everything for him, and they're dear to Krishna, so they're everything for him. And I'm going to take the other side. So your question is, what's the influencers? It's Krishna's plan. And sometimes people do things out of character. So Samba did what Samba did. The sages cursed the way the sages cursed. Krishna said, let's go to Prabhas, and they got drunk. They're behaving completely out of character because Krishna had a plan. And his plan prevailed. moving the players on the Krishna's chessboard because of their complete submission to Krishna. So the intelligence induced them to do what they did. Out of character's things. Similarly. Is that right? Okay.
If I can
Follow up.
ask.
Okay.
What role does the passing away of Bhishma Dev play in the overall narration of Srimad Bhagavatam?
What's
the role of?
Let me say it back. Bhishma Dev's passing must have some kind of a role or message for the reader of the Bhagavatam. What's that message?
Exactly.
Well, it's right in the purports. He is setting an example. And then his prayers following what he does. He knows the purpose of life. He's worked fulfilling that purpose of life, and now the time of death. So when we know, we may not know, but if we know the time of death is approaching, what are we to do? And it's not, ask Krishna to come before me, but, they're principles. And it's the role of Grandfather Bhishma's passing is an instruction of others. When the time of leaving the body comes, what to do. And, the principles involved. And those that are near and dear to the one who's about to depart, what are some principles for them to be followers of?
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Online, there are a couple of comments by Paramkaran Prabhu. There are so many similarities between the consciousness of Bhishmadev and Parikshit Maharaj at their respective moments of departures.
Mm-hmm.
Both were so firmly fixed in Krishna, one via their focus on the four-armed form and the other on the Lord as the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay. Jai Sachinanda, you're looking very thoughtful. You won't want to contribute something here?
Just contemplating speaking from someone because all of devotion, all of the different states. I think Bhishma Dev was a great hero in how he carried out his worldly duties as well as how he exemplified undeviated devotion to
Yeah.
the Lord.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's maligned as being maintained by the Kauravas, etc. But that was part of his vow to Satyavati's father, that I'm not going to take the seat of the king, and I'm going to do my part to maintain whoever's the king of Hastinapur. And like you said, he's plenty powerful enough that he doesn't need to be maintained. If he can battle Parusharama, he can probably subdue many kingdoms and be maintained in that way. If he hadn't done what he had done by taking the side of the Kauravas, Lord Krishna would not, in one way, have been able to demonstrate that his heart belongs to the Bhakta,
Yep.
namely Arjuna.
It's two-way,
Yes.
not just one way.
Yeah. Just that, I was also thinking along the Adar Shraddha seminar. Is Bhishma Dev at the level of, because he's having darshan of Lord, so is he at the level of bhav, or is he at the level of prema from B.R. Bhakti-Rasmrita Sindhu, prema usually is exemplified by extreme possessiveness of the
Yeah.
Lord
Yeah.
and saturated absorption in the Lord. And bhava, like you mentioned, still has some traces of some residual anarthas. And that was part of the instruction that Shri Bhagavan gave.
He does not do what?
That was part of the instruction. I'm sorry to mumble. That's part of the instruction that Lord Krishna gave to Shri Narad Muni about why he couldn't supposedly see him, as you mentioned yesterday.
Yeah.
To indicate that material contamination has to be completely absent to have continuous vision of the Lord, and number 2, to increase the hankering for the Lord, and number 3, to actually show that because I showed my darshan to you once, that proves that you're at a very elevated level, actually, of prema, according to Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. So I'm trying to, just because of the model that you've been talking about, the 9 stages of bhakti, thinking about at this point, where is Bhishma Dev at? Is he at the bhava stage or is he at the prema stage? And
Oh, you know the answer.
I would like to.
Oh, prema. I mean,
Yeah.
bhava is a subset. It's included in prema. He's at the prema stage.
Right.
Bhava is there, but he's the stage of perfection.
Right.
He's moved by that. I was thinking another response, the lesson. Many people, if not most people, when it's time for death, there's fear, and there's also, let me live a little bit longer because there's unfulfilled plans. Like, one wealthy man, doctor, please give me another 6 months. I can finish my plans. Sorry, sir. So he is able to step back from all of these roles and duties because he's immersed in the essence. So that's another example-setting feature of Grandfather Bhishma's passing. An important one. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Prabhupada Swami Maharaj ki jai.